Hi, I'm Dan.
And I'm Can.
And this is a Candid Conversation.
I'm just like waiting for something. I don't know what.
All right. And we're firing on all cylinders today. So, dear Candy, what do you have for us in store today?
Okay, so I had a thought and I wanted to run it by you to see, first of all, to help me learn how to explain it better, because I wanted to see what your response to it is. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You ready? You're my
ready.
guinea pig, basically. And then if anybody in the comments helps strengthen this or dissolve this argument. So everything in nature, everything that in the planet, everything has a cycle, correct?
Sure.
I mean, pretty much everything that's living has this, like, we have this living cycle, but also nature is cyclical in its seasons.
It's a circle of life.
I mean, really, right? So, and we take that the physical stuff, we see it, life cycles, seasons, right? But you have these cycles in your life too, right? It's where you kind of, taking a word from a podcast we just recorded that will show up later, you expand your world and then your world gets smaller again, and then you expand your world and it gets smaller again, right? I mean, you have these times throughout life. Like, think of when you're a baby. You come into the world brand new and your world just opens up. First, you're just one person in this little womb, dark place. Now you're hearing, you're seeing, everything's just new and loud and different and bright. And you kind of go through this expansion, and then your life kind of contracts as your parents put these parameters on you to kind of keep you safe or whatever. And then you get into your teenage years and you kind of expand your roots. You kind of stretch out a little bit more, right? And then you get married and you start having children. You kind of contract a little bit again to kind of raise your children. And then you go to empty nesting and you kind of expand again, and there's just this flow. So I got thinking that maybe that is really, started wondering if that's what's happening right now. Because I've said to you before that I feel like humanity is evolving. Right? I've said that. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast before, but I feel like we're just in a very, like a growth spurt kind of, right? We're kind of like, but I'm wondering if the idea of God, so this is my point. The idea of God expands and contracts, and God has become so small, especially in evangelical Christianity. That's the place I can talk from. But Christianity has made God so small in this little box. And God, now we're understanding, like, is bigger because it's source. It's just everything, all that exists in these different fragmented pieces, exploring. And, and that's how a lot of us are becoming to see the divine or the spirit or whatever you want to call it. We'll just call it God. And I think throughout history that has happened, because if you go back to the beginning when mankind is religion is kind of coming on the scene, right? It's very polytheistic. So it's very broad. There's different gods for different things. And you're not really going to be put to death because you believe in this other God. It's just, you like this God and this person likes this God. Then you get to monotheism when it gets a little more narrow. And if you're in this group, you better believe like this. And if you don't believe like us, you got it wrong. You're believing in the wrong God. We're going to kill you. We're going to hurt you. We're going to force you to convert. And then so it got real narrow, but then the idea of God explodes again later when you get to, even when Jesus comes, Jesus is bringing a bigger view of God than the Israelites were expecting at the time, right? It was kind of like they had this small idea and they wanted it, it was easy to control. And then this explosion happens and people spread out and go all over the place. And it will say, like, the word of God spread. Well, it didn't mean we're writing, because that's what the word of God spread is said so many times throughout Acts.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're writing more. It just meant, like, the promise that is probably true, not how we're taught with, I'm just saying like that it's not a religion. God is not confined to a religion. And so that was spreading. And then you get into then Catholicism with Constantine, and it gets real narrow again, like follow this this is what Christianity is, right? And I don't think this is just Christianity. I think this affects I think other religions do this too. And then there's this explosion when you get to the Reformation. And I mean, what do you think about that kind of idea of this? We're just in another explosion of expanding our view of what God is, and it will contract again. But right now we're at the beginning of an expansion.
Heard some people talk about this before.
Oh, have you? Good. You'll have to give me their names.
I couldn't tell you offhand. It was just videos and stuff I've seen over time. But there are expansions. I know one that they talked about was every 2,000 years. There's a new.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that before too. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't ever hear it as an expansion, but yeah, something happens.
And then it's almost like the systems are broken away from, and then the systems come back and start control.
Can you hear my desk going down? Sorry, I've been standing
for like
several hours today. A lot of it. I'm scooting down.
It's like all of a sudden I talk and all of a sudden you hear.
Okay. Look,
right.
I'm
what happened here? Okay, now you just took yourself out of frame. Okay.
I'm contracting. Well, I have to go down because my legs are tired. I've been standing for like, I don't know, almost 10 hours in the same spot.
All right, there we go. Candy's entering the frame again.
Okay.
Oh,
anyways,
wow. So they talk about it. So in it, they kind of talk about like this new idea of what religion is comes out 2,000 years ago with Christ.
Okay, yeah.
It broke away from the traditional sense that came out. So you had this new concept that came in and took over. But then the systems learned and regrouped and started taking control of it again.
The control. Somebody wants control again. Yeah.
To
people are getting too wild and crazy,
then
doing what they want.
Figuring it out, and they don't like being that restricted as we've got now. So now you're starting to see that blow out again. And there's different people. It depends on who you're listening to. If they're more of a spiritual woo-woo type person, or if they're more of a theosophy type person that's staying within the religion, they'll have different explanations for it.
Yeah.
There's people in the astrological world, so in
like astrology would say like, okay, yeah.
They have their explanation for it too, that, okay, the moon's in here, or what is it? I can't remember what they call it now, but
we're in the age of Aquarius, or I don't know if we're still in that. Expansion. Are we still in that?
Yeah. This is the expansion. I know a lot of people have talked about 2027 being the year of everything from 24 to 27 was supposed to be this buildup of just chaos. That eventually,
we were experiencing that right now.
27 was going to be
bring some relief
and some clarity comes out, and a new direction of humanity goes. So there are these cycles that I've heard different, and these are a bunch of different things that I've heard over time that I'm piecemealing into one. They're not one idea, but that these things are happening. This is how humanity works. And if you look back, you see all these things. One I heard today about socioeconomic principle is that you have these ideas where business, so in the 30s, business was rampant and enjoyed everything. They were thriving. You had the barons, you had the railroad barons, you had the oil barons, you had the land barons, these small groups of individuals that controlled 4% or 40% of the wealth. So $4 on every
10.
Yeah, $4 on every $10 was controlled by this small,
or 40 cents of every dollar is
1% of the population controlled that much.
Which now it's like what, 90%?
It's 45 for 2%, I think. So it's about.
It's more than that.
I think it's about there again. I can't remember, but sorry for that, folks. You heard that. So what they did back then is that FDR came in and was setting up all these new regulations. Okay, we're going to start redistributing the wealth. We're going to increase the tax on you guys up here because we need this money to spread out. People are impoverished. The Great Depression's going on. You guys are still living high on the hog. You're still having your galas and your balls and everything else.
Yeah, these people are struggling to put food on the table.
These people are in soup lines begging for food. Something's wrong there.
How could you even do that? How could you even have a gala? Yeah. Well, you see people, I don't know how it's done.
You ask that question, and people are struggling in this country, and you have parties going on at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, but then I also feel we've had parties. We just celebrated Christmas when some people can't even afford. Yeah. You know, I mean, I guess, it happens.
In that time, so when he started doing this, that's when the DuPonts, the Ford,
Rockefeller,
all these industrial leaders came together and wanted to stage a coup of the government and take it over, and actually they were trying to get, what was his name? I just told you about this story. It was a general from World War I that was very popular. I can't think of his name offhand. They were trying to convince him to join them. And if they could get him, they thought he could rally people's support. He's a very popular public figure.
So he's very charismatic.
The military would follow, and the military was fighting for benefits they were promised that the government wasn't giving them because the government didn't have the money because of the Great Depression. So if they could get this guy to rally the troops, these rich people would pay these people to usurp the government, march on to Washington, and tell FDR, you're going to be this acting role now. We're going to call you this, but we're going to run it. It was a fascist takeover like Mussolini did, and our friend in Germany did. We had people here that were going to do that here. But it got stopped because that general said, no. I see what you're doing. He saw what was happening, figured it out, said, this isn't what we're about. I'm going to actually make a speech against you guys, and it blew up on him. So,
did he tell them before he did it? Did he make them think that he was going to do a speech in their favor? And then did it?
He said he was going to do a speech. They thought it was going to be in his favor, and then when he did it, it was against them completely and threw them off.
That's a good move. Yeah. Keep them completely off guard.
So that's another cycle that people are saying we're in right now, where you have the few that have much are trying to control things, and then something's going to happen where the people are going to start, this is wrong, we need more representation, we need someone that's going to do something about it. That's why people like Muldowney gets elected in New York. And this, now, if that happens, and it's allowed to happen, hopefully, with the Democratic elections, that someone gets in there and starts changing things, these titans of industry are going to be like, wait a minute, no. It's been really good for us now. We don't want to give up what we have. And then you have another thing happen there where they have to either fight it or get people to whatever. So anyways, cycles do happen. It's kind of natural. It's the way we go. It's like you said, it's just how we live life, where we kind of in and out, expand and contract, figure out what's good.
And I think when we expand, if you think about your own personal life, so as a child, you come into the world, it expands, then it contracts. I think I talked about that here just a little bit ago, right? It contracts, and then you expand as a teenager. Every time there's change, it feels disorienting. It feels scary. It feels different. Like a baby being born, they're like, what? That's why they have these little like spasms when they hear something loud, or they have like their nervous system is like, what is this?
On their podcast.
Did I just do that?
You hit the table and it jingled it.
Or like when you become a teenager, all of a sudden you become very aware. When you get puberty, you're aware of your body, and it's a really awkward time, and you're aware of others' judgments and all of this, right? And then you get into menopause or whatever, and you're very aware of your body. It's different, it's strange, all these different things, and it feels uncomfortable. And then, but you're glad on the other side of it every single time. I think you're better for it, right? You're better maybe in spite of it, but part of it was the process. It's kind of like a birthing process, like a being reborn. It's like um, like a resurrection of some sort, like a death and a resurrection. I don't know. It's like that kind of cycle is going on. And I guess the reason I bring it up is because I think it brings me comfort to think, first of all, as someone deconstructing and understanding like spiritual stuff in a very different light, in a much more expansive light, that might be part of just like what happened long ago. And we're just getting into a bigger, and I think every time maybe the idea of God gets even bigger and gets even bigger, after you go through the contraction. And I think maybe it's normal for us to feel this push with the church, and they're fighting us and we're standing saying, no, we're not going back to it. And something's wrong with it. And that's normal. And don't fight. If you want to be in that camp that's standing up against it, like, it's the camp that's going to win. It's the camp that is going to be on the other side in a more expansive way, rather than like the church is either going to have to adapt. They're going to have to change itself. It's either going to die, or it's going to die, or it's going to do one of the two. And it might take a while for it to adapt, which it always does.
Yeah, it does.
But
and gets its claws back in things and contracts again.
Yeah, and it will recycle around in every hundreds of years or so, hundreds of years. I don't know.
And part of it is just the advancement of knowledge in things too, because people are starting to understand more and they're starting to learn more and they see more. We have greater ability. I mean, you think about some of these times where these expansions happened. It's because some technology came about that helped expand. So the Reformation, you started getting printing presses coming soon after there. Communication was quicker. So the world didn't seem so big anymore. It started to shrink.
It does seem a lot smaller.
So when the world
social media has made it seem way smaller.
Nowadays,
the problems are bigger.
That are able to communicate ideas and put them out. People can listen to them. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. You look at 2020 with COVID and you had QAnon and all that shit. And people were hearing all this stuff and they're like, well, that's great. But they didn't want to do any actual thinking on it. They were in that mindset of just accepting and this is true. And it's like, well, no. It's
not testing anything or using critical thinking. They didn't have any really. Yeah. They were just like, they wanted to hate somebody. And so, when they said like, politicians in Hollywood are drinking blood of babies and stuff, like they just jumped on that. Yeah. We know people who did.
So we have this expansion of communication now. I can immediately talk to someone on the other side of the world face to face via video, or I could put a message out that it's going to reach different areas of the world potentially.
And it can be translated if it's in a different language.
And the systems and all this understand that. That's why our TikToks aren't getting out to other countries now. And I'm not seeing as many TikToks from foreign entities as I was before. There's a reason for that. YouTube, I can see a little bit more of that. That's not as restricted, but they're trying to restrict the areas that we're going to and understand and learn and go. And
they're trying to restrict. Yeah. And when the restriction happens, expansion will follow at some point.
Yeah. So when we're able to communicate freely and understand and get knowledge and banging ideas off of each other and see what's going on, that's dangerous for the systems, because then we can start, hey, that's right. I'm seeing the same thing here and that just ain't right, or someone else is like, why are you guys like that? We haven't been like that in 50 years. It's like, what? There's another option out there? Oh my goodness, how's that work? And that harms the status quo, and the people that are running the status quo don't want it. So there's bound to be another new development that comes out of it, new understanding of things of, you guys got it wrong. You've been holding on to this doctrine and chiseling away and reinterpreting it and rewriting it and making it this for 2,000 years.
And it's got harsher and harsher and harsher as you go. And
we can see what the original message is, and we can see where you are now. And they are not the same thing.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
completely
And
different.
because you got people, I mean, when Martin Luther, like, put the Bible in the common German language, right, at the time, he did those people a favor because now they could read it and see what it actually said and begin to interpret it. And some people would say that was a big mistake because now people were interpreting all sorts of directions because we had it right. So you're dependent on those few who were interpreting it, regardless of what they say, they were interpreting it and passing it down, and it was shifting and changing over those years, and it was going through filter after filter. I mean, if you ever play the game of telephone, yeah, you know how fast that changes. It becomes very different, especially when you go across cultures or language. Could you imagine it's in a different language? I mean, it's going to it's not even going to be the same message at some point, and probably not too far removed from the original. So
an example of that was I had a couple guys working on a project at my facility, and it was a Hispanic crew that was doing it, and the crew leader spoke English, but none of the other crew did. Crew leader was gone. He had to go to a different town and pick something up for their project, but these guys' battery died on one of their machines, so they needed jumper cables, and they didn't have any on hand. So they came up and asked me, but they didn't speak English. So we got out the Apple Translate on the phones.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
And he went in there and said, do you have jumper cables? Well, then it translated English and it said, do you have cords of electricity or cords of spark or something like that? And it took me a second. I said, jumper cables. Got it. Because I didn't know what you were asking for.
But
I didn't see what
it was
happening,
different. Yeah.
but it was completely different. I had to think about it for a little bit and interpret it into my own language.
Know the context.
Yeah.
Okay, they have these kind of machines. They're here, and
So,
sure. So you were right there on the location, talking to them in person.
Yeah.
And it still took a little struggle. You know what I'm saying? So it's like how much more centuries between. And not even having the originals and stuff like that. I'm not saying that none of it's right but just understand that it is going through a filter. And if that's how God just leaves it, the only way you can know him is if you understand this book. Well, nobody understands it fully. Nobody understands all the context and the culture of everything in that book at all. There are books.
Well, it's people like Dan McCullen that have more of an understanding, but they've studied all these languages. They've
their cultures and the cultures of the time.
And all that went with it. They've spent years engrossed in this. So when Joe Schmo that gets up the learn Greek in 150 days.
And says the Bible's clear. This is what it says. Yeah.
And they learn it and then they're starting to teach on it. It's like, well, okay. You really don't know what you're talking about. You got
you
enough
like
information.
A kindergartner trying to, it's like a kindergartner trying to teach like ancient language. They don't know what they're doing.
It's like our teenagers trying to tell us how to live life.
Yeah,
it's like,
this is how it works. Like,
all right.
Yeah.
And you're trying to give them a good life of it lesson on something you've learned through trial and error, and they're like, "Whatever, that's dumb. You're stupid."
They just have to live it. Yeah.
It's like.
That's when you have to be the one that's a little more mature and go, life will teach you.
Yeah.
And it might not be as easy it'd be easier if you just listen to me. But if you don't, I didn't always listen to my parents either. I had to learn the hard way.
You're going to get a lesson. So, yeah.
But I guess the main point of this was to, first of all, bring people some comfort that we're just in another cycle and there will be goodness on the other side of it. It will be better on the other side of it. I'm not saying this is how it had to be and this person is put in place by God or any of that garbage. I'm saying we go through these seasons. It gets really uncomfortable. Think of childbirth. It gets really uncomfortable. We all know that the systems were messed up. We all know that things need to change, regardless of what side you fall on in the political world. We all know something needs to change. It is not right. It's broken.
It's
right. So we got to go through some shit.
Everyone has seasons, even if you live in Phoenix. The winter isn't as hot as it isn't. It's not 118 degrees outside in the winter. It might be 80, 90 degrees, but you have
something shifts.
Yeah. So you have oh, this is extremely cold right now and where we're at. Well, not right now, but usually it's cold. I know if I wait another couple months, it's going to be nice again. Then a couple months later, it's going to be unbearably hot. And it's going to be like, oh, wait a couple more months, it's going to cool down and we'll have winter. You're going to have it. There'll be good times. There'll be uncomfortable times. You just wait for the next one to show up. So.
And it will, because everything has a cycle. Every single thing. You look around, there's a cycle. Nothing stays the same, but it doesn't continue. Things will get worse until something steps in and makes it better. And it does. You know, even when a society like dies off in a certain area. You right there?
No.
When society, let's say a civilization dies off, the people leave or die, and all the buildings that they built and the lives that they built, you know, it begins to decay. But then what happens? The land starts growing over it. You know, greenery comes back, flowers bloom. It becomes a place for animals to, you know what I'm saying? Like something good eventually comes on the other side of it. And there is beauty that will rise out of the ashes of what we're going through. But we need to think of it like childbirth pains. We're going through this. It's uncomfortable. We don't like it. That's understandable. But if we know that there is good on the other side, I'm not saying this political system that we are in America, because I think this is all over the world, that people are getting this more expansive view of God and who we are concerning God. You know, that God's not out there like this guy judging us, but we're kind of all coming to this kind of awakening. A lot of the collective is starting to wake up to like, wait, like if everything's connected, which science is pointing to, then we are connected to that source too. So we're part of it. We're not separated from it.
Yeah.
And whereas we were taught that there's this being and then there's us and we're unworthy and he's worthy. And, you know, and if we want to get back with him, we've got to toe the line. Well, we're discovering that that's off. That doesn't match with what science is saying, what we're discovering, because we're exploring and trying to figure things out. And it's not, but everything's in a cycle. It's not like it's just going to get worse, 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 and there's no end to it. There will be an end to this. There will be we will get on the other side of this. So I feel like that gives me comfort. I hope it gives other people comfort that we got to go through the birth pains in order to have the new life come into the world. So if, you know, just hold on and you know, keep
one more day.
I mean, I wish it was one more day, but you know, just be authentic, stay in your authenticity, pay attention to what your vibration is, you know, where your energy is, and don't try to force it to be high all the time. Notice when it's low and notice why it's low and ask yourself, you know, why, and let yourself sit there if you need to sit there. There's nothing wrong with low emotions. Now we're aware of those vibrations, those highs and those lows. Those are cyclical too. You will not stay in a low emotion forever. You will eventually, if you get so depressed, you will eventually seek help. You will eventually pull yourself up out of it. If you don't, then you die. You know, that's just what it is. You will eventually pull up. I mean, that sounds terrible, but it is what happens. So it's like you will come on the other side of it. You will. So just rest assured, this is just a cycle that we're something good is on the other side.
Yeah.
I hope that helps. I just thought it was kind of an interesting thought. So
it does.
Even God has cycles.
He does. He does.
God's got a cycle. He's on the God cycle. His period is
it's called
vicious
soul
this
cycle.
time. Soul cycle? Oh, look at you.
Thank you. I'll be here all week, folks. All right. So if you're listening on YouTube, please give us a like, follow, and subscribe. We'd appreciate it greatly. And leave us a comment if you got a moment. Love hearing comments from you. If you're listening on any streaming device, Apple, Spotify, whatever, go up and give us 5 stars. We'd appreciate that. Just takes a simple click. As you're listening to this right now, just pull up the screen, go up there, click on the star, give it 5. We'd appreciate it. If you got a moment, leave us a comment. We love it there. And then go down below. In the description, we got our website and everything down there. You can click on that, everything we're doing on that. can get involved with DannyCan.com and a few other things Candy's broken out there that you can go and watch. You can connect
Can I plug my thing real quick?
You can go ahead and connect on anything down there and listen to what you got. And one of the things that you can find in there is our YouTube channel, which has Candy's newest series that she's doing at the beginning of this year. Candy, what was that again?
Well,
I can't
first
seem
of all,
to remember.
I want to say that in the YouTube channel, we have playlists. We have like Dan's shorts, a lot of videos you put on TikTok and then you put on here. We have mine. I don't do TikTok very much anymore. And then we have my Candid coaching podcast, which I don't have very many, but now I'm doing this new project. You'll see a playlist for that. And this is devotions for those deconstructing. And I'm going through 3 books. The Book of Awakening, which is spiritually universal. My Utmost for His Highest, which is like old school Christian. And Sarah Young, Jesus Calling. So Jesus Calling by Sarah Young, which is a more modern Christian one. And I'm kind of just showing the mindset that each of these develops, kind of going through them every day. I'm posting what each of them says for the day, because they're day books where they have a reading for every day. And I'd love it if you'd join, comment. It's kind of just a little pet project that I'm kind of enjoying so far. It takes a lot of work, but it's interesting to see the mindsets and to be reminded of what I used to believe.
Yep. So, all right. With that being said, all you outlaws have a glorious weekend and enjoy your day. And rest assured, there too will be an end to what's going on now, and things will get better. The sun
Will shine again.
will come out
Sorry.
tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that.
We're gonna get. Can you get copyrighted for singing it?
Not me, because I'm so off key. They can't claim that it was the tune. So we're good. All right. Bye.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
More.